thing about Mac and Me is there's a lot of people who really love this movie. But I feel like for the majority of the world, most people just think this is the worst movie ever made. Mac and Me is an entertaining and really funny movie, but the thing is, I don't think it's meant to be funny. Now, a few of the arguments that people have about this movie is it just a giant E.T. ripoff, just a huge commercial for Coca-Cola, just a huge commercial for McDonald's? And the answer to all of those questions is absolutely 100% yes. Coca-Cola is talked about and featured throughout the entire movie. McDonald's has its own huge scene, which we'll talk more about in a little bit. This is the only movie to ever feature Ronald McDonald in it, and McDonald's used to have Mac and Me advertisements in their restaurants when the movie first came out. Now, as far as the similarities to E.T., both movies are about aliens that get stuck on Earth and just want to get back to their families. Both aliens become friends with a young boy. Both aliens get addicted to a sugary treat. Both boys use that sugary treat to lure the alien to them. Both movies have evil government agencies that are trying to capture the alien. Both movies have chase scenes where the government agency is chasing after the boy and the alien through their very similar looking neighborhoods. And the older brother in both movies is named Michael. So today I'm going to check out the filming locations for Mac and Me, and we're going to be taking a look at some of the most hilarious and outrageous scenes. So let's go see what we can find. Right here on this street is where the big accident happens. The car is traveling down this street headed towards where I'm standing. That's when Mac lands on the windshield and they lose control right next to this building here. We clearly see that sign. In the movie it says Beckons Storage. I don't know why it doesn't say that anymore because this is still the Beckons Moving Company. They lose control of the car right about there and come across the street and they crash right into those bushes. The car is crashed right here in front of these bushes, and that's when we see Sam from Different Strokes. He's staring at those bushes right there, and that's when he sees Mac pop up in front of the car. Eric and his family are stuck in traffic somewhere over here when that fire truck comes passing by them. Eric and his family head down the street this way towards the accident and get stopped at the checkpoint. So although in that last scene we saw that they were already deep in the San Fernando Valley, in this scene we see them coming down the hill entering the valley once again. We see them heading north on the 405 when Eric wakes up to find that they now live in a place that has other cars. Eric, wake up, we're almost there.
Hey, look at all the cars. This looks pretty nice.
Wow, look at all the cars. This is pretty nice.
Right, so we're almost to their house. It's right up here on the left.
Wow, top of the hill.
Check it out, 2-car garage.
Wow, top of the hill.
Oh, cool. Check it out. 2-car garage.
Yeah.
That's right, top of the hill. This is the Cruz family home. And as you can see, it's changed a lot over the years. But there's that 2-car garage that Michael was so excited about. They would have pulled into the driveway right here and saw the movers tossing the boxes around. And as they got out of the van and looked across the street, they saw Debbie sitting in front of her tent in that big empty lot. Now, although that big empty lot is no longer here, these trees can be seen in the background behind Debbie in that shot. This is the shot we get of Eric and his mom leaving their house to go on a jog. And Mac would have been sitting right up in this tree watching them. This is the corner that Eric and his mom come jogging around, and they head down this street. And of course, just a few moments later, Mac comes around the same corner in that yellow Power Wheels truck with all the dogs chasing him. They go right past this house, and that driveway looks exactly the same as it did in the movie. The driveway, the fence, the electrical box, all exactly the same. Mac heads down this street towards the highway, and you can see Eric and his mom off in the distance. Alright, so this is crazy. This is the corner that Mac comes around in that yellow Power Wheels truck. And I just noticed that the house that I'm parked across the street from has almost the exact same Power Wheels truck sitting in their backyard. Coincidence? Eric and his mom turn this way off of Miramar Drive onto Casino Drive, and you see Mac in the background being chased by the dogs, headed right towards that cliff. And this is the cliff that Mac falls off of. but that shot of him sitting in the tree was somewhere else, because if you look down here, there's no tree, there's no sidewalk, it's just like a little canyon. Those buildings that you see in the background are the Buddhist temple here in Hacienda Heights, and it was being constructed at the time of filming. Inside this park is where that infamous scene takes place, where Eric falls off the cliff into the lake. But unfortunately, the trails to get to that site are currently not accessible. This scene's become infamous because actor Paul Rudd shows it every time he's on the Conan O'Brien show, and he's supposed to show a clip of his new movie. This McDonald's is used strictly for training and filming, and pretty much every McDonald's commercial that you've ever seen was filmed here, but this is also where one of the coolest dance scenes of the 1980s took place. All the kids are hanging out right here in this parking lot dancing as we see the station wagon come around the corner here. This building can be seen in the background. As the station wagon pulls into the driveway, we see that building, this yellow fire hydrant, and this electrical box. The station wagon pulls in and it parks right here. And again, all of those kids are hanging out dancing. And the rumor is that a very young Jennifer Aniston is sitting right there on that curb watching everybody dance. Now, as you can see, it's not the same building that we see in Mac and Me. That building was sadly torn down in the early 2000s and rebuilt to look like more of a modern McDonald's. But of course, it's the same property and the same layout. I just noticed there's some fake trees up here in front, so they might have been doing some filming just recently. Now, if you remember in Mac and Me, they have some fake trees like this blocking the windows, probably to block the industrial buildings across the street. Right there you can see the menu and the counter. That's where Mac would have been standing up there dancing in the teddy bear costume. Just think of all the awesomeness that happened inside there. So we gotta take a minute to talk about this McDonald's scene because it's probably the most awesome scene in the entire movie. So everybody's having a great time at the children's birthday party when a random voice announces that the dance competition's about to begin. I don't know who that voice is or where it comes from, but this is what happens next. All right, so a full-blown dance-off breaks out in the McDonald's, including these 45-year-old men in football uniforms. So I gotta be honest, all jokes aside, unlike a lot of other things in the movie, the dancing is actually top-notch quality dancing. I mean, it's really good. Eric appears to be just as confused as everybody watching the movie. Mac wants to get involved, so he does a flip through the air across the restaurant and begins dancing on the counter. I mean, whoever came up with this is a genius. He spots the men from the lab, so he levitates through the restaurant and out the door. They have to catch up with Mac, but it's never going to happen because the parking lot's turned into a full-blown musical. Eric and Mac are on the run from the men at the lab. They head towards this wall at the bottom of the hill. They move through this intersection, almost causing multiple car accidents. They round the corner and they head down this street, and it's more than obvious that this is actually him in the wheelchair. They head down the street here, causing a couple of car accidents. The man from the lab almost gets hit by the car right here at Tomic Road. You can see the sign in the background. And this street right here is where all that chaos takes place. This is South Coast Plaza, and although it looks a little bit different, this is the Sears where Eric's mom worked at and where Eric comes to when he's being chased by the bad guys. This is where the entrance was that Eric and Mac come rushing out of, and Mac uses his powers to make the doors stick. When they're coming out, you can see the other side of Sears across the way, and if you notice, you can still see the letters up there. So Eric comes out of those doors right there, and he goes rushing down that way. When they're chasing after him, Eric's mom is running right by the auto center. She stops right there at the end of the building. And right here would have been, I'm not really sure what that is, like a gas station it looks like. And right there across the way, we see a Builder's Emporium in the background. Somewhere right about here is where that water fountain would have been, where she's getting Mac some water. And then right there is where their van was parked. Of course, there was a payphone here that Eric's brother was on, and another payphone right over there. This entire building across the street looks exactly the same. And it's crazy, even that building right there was an alteration shop in the movie. When they're standing at the van talking, the camera is shooting this way and you can see the people at the park playing basketball behind them. So we just drove almost 2 hours for this next location. I'm not sure if you can see those windmills off in the distance behind me, but those are the windmills that they're driving to when they're looking for Mac's parents. But just a few miles from those windmills, in the parking lot that I'm currently standing in, is where the climax of the movie takes place. So this is the grocery store that Mac's family goes into. They pull into this parking lot and they stop at a gas station that I believe would have been located right here where this Jack in the Box is. And then Mac's family wanders into this grocery store. That's the door that Mac's family walks out of. This whole parking lot is filled with the police. They're surrounding the store. And Mac's family goes walking this way towards the street. They walk towards that big store that gets blown up. Now, I don't know where that was. I don't know if that was a fake store. It might have been right there where the Family Dollar is, or the McDonald's. Everything looks exactly the same as it did. It even still has this glass wall right here. This liquor store across the street can be seen in the background behind the police. Did you know that there's an alternate ending where the police accidentally shoot Eric just before he gets blown up? I gotta be honest, it's pretty intense. Okay, so Eric gets blown up, Mac's family comes over, they bring him back to life, everybody's happy. Probably the biggest difference between Mac and me and E.T. is that when it's all over, they don't get to go back to their home planet. Instead, they come here to City Hall and they become American citizens. That's right, Mac and his entire family come here to City Hall and become American citizens. Probably the second greatest and most ridiculous scene in the movie. They get sworn in as United States citizens. I mean, just look at this. It makes absolutely no sense, and that's what's so great about it. How would they have even passed the test? This is the same location where the big accident happens towards the beginning of the movie. But this is also where the ending of the movie takes place, where Mac and his family are driving down the street in that pink Cadillac. Now you can even see this street sign here for Corisco Street in the background behind them. They travel right down this way, past that street sign, right along here. And then it cuts to them getting on the freeway. This is the entrance to the 405 freeway southbound from Sunset. And this is where they did that final shot of Mac and his family getting onto the freeway in that pink Cadillac. You know, and I don't know for sure, but I bet you they just got that shot from renting a room here at this hotel up on the top floor. This is the path that the Cadillac's traveling on, and Mac blows that giant Wilby back bubble, and right here the Sunset Bridge pops the bubble. Alright, so that's gonna do it. An absolutely ridiculous movie, but I gotta be honest, I'm one of those people who love it. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.
Your customer service to register for.
That ain't her voice.